blue on the go and having blocked in those four, I think what I'll do is I'll use the same blue, just applied perhaps a little bit more thinly to enhance some of these cast shadows a little bit. So, for example, as you probably heard, I just sprayed the blue on the palette with water and just darken the shadow there where that steer's leg meets the ground. And then perhaps a little bit here. Just want to remove some of the paint from my brush actually and just get a bit more water in there so it's a little bit more transparent. And it's quite dark here. Back here as well. So we're just starting to add some just little bits of a darker area within the cast shadow. So, keeping some of the lighter stuff I had earlier exposed. There's almost no paint on my brush now, but I can just darken some of those areas. And I think that will do for the moment. I'm going to let that completely dry now. And once that's done, then I'll come in with my interactive acrylics. If you're wondering about this chap here who's missing his hind legs, I plan on cropping the painting about there so that this one on the left and this one on the right are just kind of peeking into frame. But we'll see how that goes. Alright, well, the painting of conventional acrylic is completely dry now. So I've switched to my interactive acrylics. So I've got tinting white, permanent alizarin crimson, cadmium yellow deep, ultramarine blue, and some burnt umber. And so my next step is using this little 1/2-inch flat brush. I'm just going to refine some of the general modelling that I've got on the cattle, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to keep working, probably going to leave the background for the most part as it is, but I'm going to keep working on the animals and bring them up to the same level of modelling at the moment. So my first step is going to be to start to add some slightly brighter highlights. So with that in mind, I'm getting some of the ultramarine blue and a little bit of the tinting white. A little bit more. And I think I'm just going to add just a touch of the burnt umber. And I'm doing that so that the highlight colour I'm mixing, it's not just a pure blue. It's gone. The burnt umber will neutralise it a little bit, so it'll just be a little bit more of a grey to this blue highlight. Now, I can spray water on the painting without fear of my underlying work having gone anywhere, and then squinting at my reference, I can begin to add some highlights. Now, perhaps not surprisingly with hindsight, that highlight isn't light enough. And the reason it looked lighter on my palette is obviously I'm using a black palette, so I can add a little bit more tinting white to the mixture, and let's see if that improves things. And that's a bit more like it, so let's add some highlight there. There's another little dash in there, and in fact it's quite light actually on the side of this animal's face. And then highlight comes down there to that little band of shadow that I put in earlier, and then it skips over a little bit to the left There's a bit of a highlight over the eye and even on the ear there. A bit on the top of the head.